They chased after you, but did they value you? And could they handle you? That's the question today. So, I've been thinking a lot lately about my past, and I don't know if I've really shared this story in full. And I'm not going to name names because, it's been water under the bridge, but we'll call him Brad, okay? Way back when I was 20 years old, I had wanted Prince Charming to sweep me off my feet. I was a sucker for the romantic movies where the girl would meet the guy's eyes from across the room, and then he'd come over and talk to her and pursue her and basically beg her to be his. And I was a little disillusioned by the point that I was 20 years old. I'd had a few hookups, and I realized that a lot of men didn't value me, and I had decided that's it. I'm not dating. I'm going to hold out for the one that sweeps me off my feet. So I was on the bus to get a bridesmaid dress, and then I was coming home on the bus. And this guy was across from me, and I couldn't stop staring at his eyes. First of all, I'm a sucker for blue eyes, so that was part of it. And he had this sweet smile, and he kept looking at me, and I'd look at him, and he'd be like that. And we didn't say anything, but the chemistry was there. And then he got off at his stop just before my stop, and I was like, oh, I'll never see him again anyway, so it's okay. I just had this moment, and I felt pretty and sexy. And then the next day, I come back from school, because I was going to college at the time. I was in my second semester, and there he was again. And the same exchange happened. I had my music in, and I was listening to my music, and there he was, and we were doing the eye thing, still not saying a word. But this time he stopped at my stop. So he didn't get off at his stop. He got off at my stop. And he follows me off the bus, and he's like, I just have to say that I would be kicking myself if I didn't ask for your number. There's something here, and I want to follow it. And I'm like, oh, a guy is actually interested in me. A guy is actually pursuing me. I feel all special. Now, he was cute. I won't say he wasn't cute, but he was not the most extraordinary man that I'd ever met. I mean, I wouldn't meet him until I was much, much older. But the fact is that I was mostly focused on the outside of, oh, a boy likes me. So suddenly I was all into him because he was into me. Even though we really didn't have much in common, and even on our first date, I found out he was a smoker. I don't date smokers. But, I squinted, I settled, because I thought, well, at least this one is really, really pursuing me, and he's taking me out, he's wining and dining me, he ordered a bottle of wine. I never had red wine before, but he had me try that, and he was very sweet. And we went back to his place, and he lived with his parents, so we went to his room, and he's like, we have all the time in the world, and not too much happens. And it was all for me. And I'm like, wow, I've actually got a boyfriend now. A few days later, Brad calls me up, and he's like, well, what are you doing tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I've got classes until about, say 6 o'clock, and then I'm off, and then I'm just going to go home. He's like, no, how about you come to dinner? I'll meet you at the bus stop, and we'll go back to my place. My parents want to meet you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I came there, and we had dinner, and then we hooked up, and that was a little bit of a problem because I actually had a test the next day, and I was really stressed about that test because now we didn't use protection. I'm not proud of that, but we didn't use protection. So I went to the store the next day early in the morning before my class, and I got Plan B. And then I took it just before I took that test for my school. It was for critical thinking. And it was a really, really hard test, too. Like, not everybody was going to pass. So thankfully, the professor was like, this is so hard that most of the students can't pass. And I'm going to create some mock tests for the final exam to make sure that my students pass, because the material was just so dense. And fortunately, like most of the class, they didn't even pass either. So, but still, I was not able to think because I was more focused on this whole thing, the situation with this guy. Never let a man take your focus, ladies. Seriously, don't let them take away your power, your dreams. The one that's right for you is not the one that's going to distract you from what you are built, but instead to enhance it. They're not going to suddenly derail your plans by doing something stupid like getting you to the point where you don't recognize that they are taking advantage of you. Anyway, Brad had been all over me for those first few weeks. He thought that, like, he's like, I can't believe this. I can't believe how much chemistry we have. Like, this is so amazing. You're so amazing. And it was like almost like a fairy tale. I didn't yet know what a love bomb was. I didn't yet know that really he was just excited that he got a girl as awesome as me. But he couldn't handle me. He really couldn't. And I didn't yet know my worth. So then a few weeks pass. I'm back to doing my schoolwork. I'm working on my creative projects. And I'm not really focused on Brad. Like, I know he's around. I know he'll call me when he's able to take me out. And I didn't even notice that it had been 2 weeks since he'd called. And suddenly he calls me up and he's like, please don't be mad at me. Please don't hate me. I'm like, huh? Hate you? What are you talking about? He's like, well, I mean, I haven't called you for 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh, it's been 2 weeks? Oh yeah, it has been 2 weeks. What's going on? It's like, well, I got really busy with work and stuff, and like I had other things I was going on. I'm like, oh. But then I started to wonder, it's like, is there something wrong with this? Like, was he supposed to spend more time with me? Like, I mean, we just started dating, so I don't know. Like, I wasn't used to that. But then things changed with Brad. He would only call me after work. And he was a chef, so he worked very, very late. And so it would be about 11 o'clock at night when I would get the call from him. And then he'd be like, I'll send a cab to pick you up. So he paid for the cab and brought me back to his place. I never had to pay for a thing. So it's like he values me enough to pay for me to be there. And he wanted to have me spend the night. But then in the morning, he'd send me back home. And then I wouldn't hear from him again until he picked me up at night again. Usually he was in the cab already, and then he'd just have me join him. So we were traveling together. But it was getting to the point where I'm like, I don't know if this is really what I want. I mean, he's just able to only see me when he's off work. He's working all the time. Maybe it's not right anymore. And I was going to break up with him, but then he's like, oh, come to my birthday. So I come to his birthday, and he's got a party, and he's got his friends. And he's inviting me and showing me off to all his friends, including this one girl that he really valued, and he said that she was basically him with boobs. And it's like, oh, this is his female bestie, and he wants me to know his female bestie. Cool. I must be somewhat special. But I noticed that he was mostly just showing me off. And then I also noticed he was really into some stuff that I really wasn't into. I mean, it wasn't just smoking. It was drinking, and it was, yeah. And I'm like, oh, you're into that. Oh, I don't know if I like that. But I was already at his house, and I couldn't really go anywhere, so I went to bed, and he was with me for all of a few minutes, cuddling, and then he went back out and hung out with his friends. I mean, It was very much like my ex light version. I needed that lesson twice, I guess. But, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I'm going to wait until he takes me on a proper date. And I went back to focusing on myself. And I didn't hear from him for a whole month. And I'm like, yeah, I think I'm single now. I was talking to my mother and she's like, what do you mean you think you're single? And I'm like, well, I haven't heard from him in a while. And she's like, wait, he hasn't said anything? He hasn't broken up with you? And I'm like, no, maybe he's just busy, or I don't know. I haven't heard from him. It's okay. And she's like, no. You deserve to get actual confirmation here. He needs to break up with you properly if he's going to do it. He doesn't get to do that to my daughter. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to call him. And it's like, well, I did call him. He didn't answer his phone. It's like, no. You're going to call his house. I'm like, his house? But that's his mother. His mother would pick up. It's like, exactly. So she told me to call the house, and I did. I called the house, and his mother picked up, and I said, okay. So Brad and I, as you know, we'd been dating for a little while. She's like, yeah, I kind of remember you. And I'm like, look, I don't want you to have to do anything. I just need to know some clarity on this. If Brad wants to break up with me, that's totally fine. But he needs to actually break up with me. And she's like, I'm going to go wake him up right now. So she goes into the room and she gives him the phone. And she's like, you need to talk to her. And he's like, why would you call my mother? And everything's like, no, I don't want to break up. I'm like, well, just say it. Like, do you want to break up? Because if you do, set me free. Like, set me free. Because, I don't have to be in this. But he's like, no, I want you. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you one more chance. Here's the thing, though. Just because somebody wants you doesn't mean that they're ready for you, or that they can handle you, or that they even deserve you. And Brad definitely didn't deserve me. I really settled with Brad. And I recognize how much I settled with Brad. And it was something that used to hurt me to think that it was me. But it wasn't me. I was valuable. And maybe he even valued me. But he couldn't hold me. He couldn't handle me. So he fumbled me very, very badly. To the point where he and his female bestie had me over at her house. And we had tequila. And one thing led to another. And I woke up in the bed with the two of them in the morning, and I was cold because there was no blankets for me. He was cuddled up with her. And I'm like, okay, he wants her. And for whatever reason, and he's not going for her, he's trying to go for me. But I'm not playing this stupid game. So I left. I wrote a note saying you looked cozy with her and we'll talk later. And I left. I just left it on a Post-it note right there on the pool table, and I walked out. I walked home. I never saw him again. And, looking back on that, the power of walking away, the self-respect I had, I didn't beg back then. I didn't try to chase clarity. I don't even really think about Brad that often. Every once in a while, it's like, oh, I hope he found his dream girl that was meant for him, because it wasn't me. It was a good lesson. And at the same time, we have those things in our past that we're not proud of. And we wonder, was it me? The truth is that sometimes people just can't handle you. They just can't hold you the way that you need. And it doesn't even have to go that far. It could just be a friendship. It could be they just don't talk to me as often as we used to, or they don't seem to be chasing after me. I sent them a message and they sent me one back, but it was short, and I wonder, nothing else came of it. I didn't respond right away, and they didn't check in on me, so I guess that's it. And it's like, no, sometimes people are just busy. And I'd given Brad the benefit of the doubt. I'm like, he's got a lot of work to do, he's busy. But then I saw the truth, and I saw the same thing with my ex. He pleaded and begged me to come back for 6 months. for whatever story that he wants to tell, he begged and pleaded to have me back. Lots of people beg and plead to have me back in their lives. And, you know, the thing is, I will open my door again for the right energy. But I won't be used. And I also need people to recognize I got my own life that I'm living. I've got my own dreams that I'm doing. And like, this is the thing with my true love too, is he opened the door. But I wasn't going to walk back in the same person that I was before. Because I'd already given him all of the love and all of the affection over and over again. And I didn't get anything back right away. And I'm like, you know, I know he values me, and I know he loves me, and I know he wants me in his life. And at the same time, maybe it's just not right for him right now. Maybe he doesn't have the capacity to love me the way that I deserve to be loved right now, to be able to show up for me the way that he knows he needs to show up. And if that's the case, the door is still open for him to come back anytime he wants. But he has to come in with the right energy. And I'm just not chasing anymore. When people send me a message, I send something back quick. When people send me a message, I'm not going to spend too much energy because, you know, I've got so many other things to focus on. So, yeah, my messages are going to be shorter now, from now on. If you ask me a question, I may give you a quick answer. If you ask me to hang out, I'm going to look at my schedule. If you tell me to basically do something that's like, you know, that's not actually going to work for me right now, I'm going to be upfront and honest about what my capacity is. The love is still there. And at the same time, if I don't have the capacity to love you the way that you deserve to be loved, you can absolutely step back. You can go and focus on other people, and I'm still going to love you. But, you know, then there's the ones that just wanted me just because they wanted me, and they don't value me. And that is where my lessons came from. And it's why I don't chase anymore. Because, you know, my mom encouraged me to go and chase Brad. And I did. And, you know, in hindsight, as powerful as that moment was when I walked away, I kind of wish that he just disappeared. And that I just kept focusing on myself. And the reason I wish that is because of the pain that I'd really gone through was unnecessary. And he didn't really deserve to have that extra chance with me. And I didn't deserve to be treated the way I was treated in that. And honestly, that experience wasn't all it was cracked up to be. So, while it was a good lesson, I would much rather somebody just fade out of my life than try to get back in just to use me again. I'd much rather just be able to focus on my peace. And when people are like, oh, well, you know, you didn't do this, so I'm leaving you. It's like, okay. I mean, that's what my ex did. He would always be like, you didn't do this, you don't appreciate me, so I'm leaving you. And I'd call his bluff every time. Once I started to stand in my power and realize I could stand on my own, I called his bluff. When he said, I want to open up the relationship to other people, I'm like, oh, you want to go date other women? Really? That's what you want to do? In your 30s with a woman who's already standing for you and 2 kids that adore you? You want to go and play the field. Okay. All right. I mean, I know that women that you're looking for are not going to give you the time of day. If you try to go younger, you're going to age out. And, you know, honestly, like, you've got me right now. And I dimmed down my hotness. But, oh, you want me to allow you to date? Okay. I'm a Scorpio. I'm competitive. Game on. And I have the marketing skills with my dating profile. So just take a guess how many messages I ended up getting in my inbox. I was not lonely. I had so many people, lots of guys asking me, please, Carly, please, can I take you out? Showering me with all of the compliments. And I only stayed as long as I could have my partner, because I really don't like playing the field. I'd much rather be in a stable relationship. That's why I got in the relationship with Brad in the first place so quickly, because it's like, oh, I've got a boyfriend now. I don't need to be playing this annoying dating game. Like, I hate the dating game. I hate the numbers game. I absolutely hate wasting my weekends going out and meeting people that I don't really want to meet up with to try to do small talk that is like, no, it drains my energy. That's why I'd much rather have deep, rewarding friendships with men. Because by that point, I'm able to find the most extraordinary one out of them. I mean, that's what I did. I was looking for friendship with my true love first, building that foundation before I even started to reveal my true feelings for him. And I wanted to make sure that it was real because, I had fake friends in the past and I had real friends in the past that I just didn't feel anything for, and I didn't want to hurt anybody. But, I'm a commitment girl. I'm the one that wants to be wined and dined and taken out and shown off and romanced and valued for my time. I'm a commitment girl. And I'm very big into loyalty. And if people can't meet me where I'm at, then I let them go with love. And the kind of friendships I need are the ones that they don't expect me to drop everything all the time. I mean, if they really need me, I will absolutely rearrange my schedule. But I also have my priorities. I've got kids. I've got myself that I'm taking care of. I've got my dreams, my ambitions, my creative projects. And I want to focus on them. And I want people to be able to focus on themselves too. And when we come together, I want us to be able to alchemize and synergize that genius. But I know my worth. And I'm willing to walk away when things aren't right. I'm willing to let people walk out of my life. And I mean, my family knows this. Lots of people know this. But yeah. So wherever Brad is today, I hope he's happy. I really hope that he did find somebody that was meant for him and that he has a happy family and everything. Because, yeah, I mean, I was awesome and he fumbled me. And it's okay that he fumbled me because I wasn't for him anyway. It was practice. Every one before the one is practice for the one. Besides, if he hadn't fumbled me, then he would have kept me stuck, and then I never would have met my ex, which means I never would have had my children, which means that I never would have gotten those really important lessons that I needed to get in order for me to rise up from the ashes. And then I probably wouldn't have been able to meet my true love, and I wouldn't trade anything for that. The journey has been interesting, and all the things that led me to my true love, I don't regret a single thing. So if you have to walk away, or if you have to let somebody miss you, just remember that they need to come in with the right energy. Don't let them come in begging and pleading for you to come back and saying that they'll change only for them to use you again. Because that sucks. And if you see that happening, walk away and do it quietly. Do it in your power. Because you don't want to abandon yourself for somebody else. You just don't. Okay? So that's pretty much the message. I'm going to go and relax the rest of the day because, I didn't get what I wanted this weekend. Been waiting, and I guess it's still not time yet, but when it is time, it'll happen. I know it will. First of all, I know my value. I know that my true love is going to ride in as soon as he's ready, as soon as he's got everything set up, because I bet that's what he's doing. I bet he's setting everything up so that when he comes in, it's just like, let's go. After all, I love a man with a plan. And as long as he's got even just the start of a plan is good enough for me. Even if the plan is really just where he wants to take me on our first date. I mean, he's got several ideas that I've given him already of what he owes me. So we shall see. We shall see. June's a new month, and I've been following, and apparently there's a lot of things that come through in June. So, you know, you're going to get everything that you deserve. Just keep staying in your power, Queen. Just keep staying in your power. And, you know, if there's any kings watching at the same time, like, just recognize that if you truly value something, you got to step up. Yeah, I said it. If you truly value something, you need to go out and get it. Because, you know, when I value something, I put my energy in it. I prioritize it. And my true love knows I've prioritized him. And the second that he says, let's go, I'm setting up all of my foundations right now. I finished recording my Empowered Birth series for the natural birth traps. I'll probably record maybe a few more videos, and then my studio is going dark for the summer. And I'm going to be focusing on relaxation and enjoying the fruits of all of my labors that I put in. So, you know, I'm preparing for what's coming in the summer. And if he wants to join me sooner rather than later, he knows where I am. And, you know, my love language, again, is bug me. So for my friends, if you send me a message and I send you one back and then you don't hear from me, it's on you to send the next one. Okay? So, I love you. Have a wonderful day. And try to enjoy some of the sunshine if you have it, because you never know when that's gone either. And hopefully, if you are kind of in the situation that I was in with Brad, that has imparted some wisdom on you of how you could handle that so that you don't deplete yourself and make the same mistakes that I made, because, you know, it really sucked. And for a long time, I thought it was me. But no, now I realize he did value me. Just, he didn't know how to handle it properly. And, you know, you can love an orchid or a wild rose, but still not know how to tend to it properly. And you can't just pluck a wild rose from the ground and put it in a vase and expect it to thrive. It doesn't work that way. Okay, so I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.